Of course, waking some of these police officers may be somewhat of a challenge, if not an impossibility, because it is highly likely that many of them have already been microchipped. It's extremely easy to control the emotional state of any person who has been implanted with a microchip. The human body is nothing more than a biological computer. All actions, feelings and emotions are detected by the brain as electrical impulses. Placing a microchip inside someone's body allows the computer to be interfered with by an external source, similar to a Trojan horse program on a home PC. No intelligent or thinking individual should ever allow themselves to be microchipped, no matter how convenient it is made to appear to entice you. To allow yourself to be chipped is to place your life and your very thoughts and your emotions into the hands of another person whom you do not know. And this is not science fiction, this is actual fact. In recent decades, experiments with microchips were carried out on animals with great success. Scientists were easily able to invoke extremes of emotion ranging from extreme contentment to violent anger, in this cat for example, with a simple change of frequency. This technology to control emotions does exist. It is not some fantasy, and it is very likely that it is due to such technology that we are recently witnessing such wanton aggression from police officers, whose actual job it is to protect and serve, rather than to harass and intimidate such as they appear to be concentrating on now. It must be clearly understood that there are only two emotions, love and fear. All other emotions stem from these two base emotions. Love is a much faster vibration than fear, and love has been proven to actually physically affect human DNA and allow more centers for coding. This is what makes true evolution possible, and it is this knowledge the elite desperately want to keep from the hands of the people, because people who live in love evolve to a higher consciousness and awareness, and power over them is lost.
So the 64 possibilities of codes that we call the human genetic code. And of these 64 possibilities, it appears that only 20 of these codes are turned on right now for us, the 20 amino acids. Well, researchers have been able to show us, and this is a pretty amazing thing to say. What has been discovered is this, is that there is a switch that turns off and turns on where those coding sites lie, and that the switch for that turning off and turning on is what we call emotion. And this is the first time that we've ever seen the patterns of emotion directly physically linked to human genetic material. Emotion, the long wave, the long red wave of emotion, wherever this wave of emotion touches, where it crosses this double helix, is what determines where the site is that code will either be turned off or turned on. You and I are primarily capable of only two emotions, many derivatives of those emotions, and two primary emotions, fear and love. Well, fear is a long, slow wave of emotion. So this wave of fear is a long, slow wave and touches relatively few sites on this DNA. So an individual living in fear is limited to the number of antennae that they have available to them. Whereas an individual living in the pattern of love, this is love in DNA, you can see it's a higher frequency, many more potential sites for coding along that genetic pattern. This information, this is amazing. This is the first time we've ever had a hard digital link between emotion and genetics. And what we're saying is this, that the way you interpret and perceive emotion in your lives directly, linearly affects and determines how your body responds genetically. In compassion, in love, you have the opportunity, and it is an opportunity, to encode many more genetic patterns within your body.
This is part of the hidden knowledge held by organizations such as the Illuminati. This is why Western society and modern religions such as Christianity have striven so hard to wipe out paganism. In fact, modern religious institutions were so fearful of the message contained within paganism and deemed it such a threat to their hegemony that the practice of it was punishable by death. But you can ask even a small child from some obscure village in the Andes and soon realise that they all know this information, but it has been hidden from the West. It is important now, through all of the problems we face, to approach the world with only love in your heart. This can sometimes be difficult to do. When faced with the truth about our world and the atrocities that are being carried out in our names by our governments, do you feel outrage? Do you feel anger? It is quite natural to feel such emotions when faced with this information, and quite fine that you do, because such anger and outrage is born from love and empathy for your fellow man. Or do you feel hatred at the perpetrators? Hatred is a very bad thing, and though it is hard, you must not allow yourself to fall into such a trap. Hatred is a very negative emotion, and negativity can only ever produce more negativity. And the people who are carrying out this madness in the world want you to hate them. They don't care who your hatred is directed at, even if it's directed at them, just so long as you hate something or someone. They just want the negative energy to keep flowing. Do not hate your enemies. George W. Bush is a genocidal maniac, but don't hate him for it. Love him and pity him for being so misguided. Don't hate him and show anger born from hatred or bloodlust. Hatred empowers your enemies against you, and such demonstrations can only possibly provoke retaliation.